Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. I'm your host, SERG VICENTE. You see, I got somebody right here waiting for me. We're going to bring my mans on in a second, but this is episode 266 of the show. I'm your host, man, and joining me today, it has been far too long. Far too long. My brother from another, the guru, is back on the show today. We got Camm joining us on the show. Brother, Camm, what it do?
Yo, how is everything, G? I've missed you. I feel like I missed boxing. There's not much boxing going on. I miss being on, man. It's been a while. Don't leave me that long. Don't leave me that long, man.
Far too long, man. I won't do it again, brother. I apologize, but man, thank you so much for joining us on the show, man. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're active with us, man. And look, granted, there's not a lot of boxing to talk about, but the boxing that we do have to talk about is important. So we're gonna talk about that. We'll finish the show off with a little bit of MMA, a little bit of culture. But we got the guru on today for everybody who doesn't know. Camm the guru, all boxing all the time. So let's kick it off with this one,
bro. I'm like all boxing like 92% of the time.
92% of the time. You're right. It's like solid 92.
Solid 92%. I'll be having my MMA days.
You know what? You do. And I appreciate it. And that's why we bring you on the round table, man. Yo, and really quick, everybody who's watching live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, thank you guys for joining us on the show today. Remember, we're available everywhere. Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, thefightpodcast.com. Check out the IG page. Could you please let them know how dope the page is?
Bro, Sir just put in work in that page. You used to be the episode posting like new episode, but he has content. The man is a content creator. All of the breaking news in easy digestible form. Follow the page. Subscribe to the page. All that.
Let him know.
All that.
Just tell him.
All that.
Tell him
all
that.
Shit. All that. Now the page is dope though. Shout out to the woman behind the curtain, Tosh.0.
Always got one.
She's fucking crushing it out there in LA. We bi-coastal. Only are we about to be international?
We are going to be international, brother. We got to get this cracking. I mean, we got look, man. We can talk about your what was that?
Post-pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%. Well, check it out. Let's go ahead and jump into it because we actually do got a lot to get to. And let's start off this way. This is a guy that a lot of us have really supported. This is a guy that over the last 5 years, I can arguably say has been one of my favorite boxers in the game. And he's also my biggest disappointment of 2020. I am talking about no other than Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Fam, look, Deontay Wilder, as we all know, got beat up, and I'm going to say it again. He got beat up by Tyson Fury, and he didn't take it very well. Unlike most people, you know what I'm saying? Some people take L's, and you look, I'm not the biggest McGregor fan in the world, but I'm going to give credit when credit is due. McGregor takes an ass whooping like a G. Yep, got me. You got me.
I mean, no consolation prizes for taking ass whooping well, but I mean, there is honor in the sport that you do want to, you want people to see you again. You want to keep your fans. You want your fans to be like, all right, you lost, but that's my nigga. Still.
That's my nigga. Absolutely. And one thing that I think you and I could both agree on is that
not McGregor,
combat sports. No, exactly. He's definitely not my nigga. But you know what? I have a lot of respect for Conor. I just don't like the extracurricular shit. And I think you and I have discussed this many times on this platform. But I'll say this. Let's get back to Deontay Wilder.
Okay. All right.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, please.
Is it safe to, I feel like you've just grown a liking to this losing ass version of McGregor. Like, McGregor gets his ass clapped and he's humble about it. Serge is like, I like this guy. Where before the fight, you were like, this motherfucker hasn't won in 15 years. How is he getting these high level fights? And I understand, but like now you're just like, hey, you're actually you're using McGregor as what someone should look like as some type of idol that Deontay Wilder should be looking to. I'm like,
unfortunately, the motherfucker should. Because you know what? Look, man, and again, and we're veering off topic real quick, but look, I'll say this about Conor. Conor has evolved, and he actually seems happy as a human being. And I would never shit on a man that seems to be happy in his own skin. You have to. Conor McGregor was a savage. This nigga was a marauder, and the thing about that is, once that you lose a little bit of that, it's hard to get back into the shits. So I don't really knock him for being a better version of himself. So
man to man,
I can't be mad at it, and I'm not gonna. You know me, I'll shit on you for being a dipshit in a heartbeat, like I'm about to shit on Deontay Wilder.
Yeah,
but Conor McGregor, I can't shit on you right now. I can't. You know what I'm saying? He's taken everything with grace, and I appreciate that. Now, granted, did he give Dustin as enough credit as he needs to? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Let's try and go back to Deontay, the pillow soft bomber. So my man is going out here. He said that his water was tainted. He's also going on to say that the gloves were, his outfit was too heavy. That was the first one. Then there was the other excuse of there were the egg weights in my man's gloves. And there's a litany of other excuses. Before I continue, do you have anything to add on to this, my brother?
Nah. I mean, I think as long as we touched on hashtag heavy suit, that's probably the best one. Is heavy suit, which, you know, it's somewhat reasonable. You wear 45 pounds for half an hour, like maybe it can do some of your legs. Like, these are athletes competing at the high level, but nigga, that's on you.
Time out. You cannot say that when whatever Showtime's version of 24/7, whatever their little behind the scenes, this nigga is literally in a 45-pound weight vest doing all of his workouts and says, "This is what I do for my workouts." He literally said that. And that literally happened. Go back and look at it.
I'm not saying that it didn't, but just because he wears a 45-pound vest to work out doesn't mean that he can go to the actual fight. This is working out. He's doing this for a reason, to weigh him down so he can be more fast.
If a professional athlete cannot wear a weight vest for even a half hour and then he's dead, bro, look, I digress, right? I digress.
Either way, I think we are aligned. The excuses were absolute bullshit. All of them.
Absolute bullshit.
Did we touch on tainted water?
Oh, yeah. I talked about it. Tainted water also. So Mark Breeland, his coach. You're my boxing guru. I would like you to go ahead and take it from here, brother. What was it? What happened? Because I definitely want to touch on this.
My storytelling is ass, but we're going to do this today. Now, the reason why I mentioned the tainted water is because that's probably the most relevant excuse as it pertains to Mark Breeland. Mark Breeland was Deontay Wilder's.
And let's give a little background on Mark Breeland. Mark Breeland, Olympic gold medalist in one of the greatest Olympic classes of all time.
Is that 1984? How's my trivia?
84. He's part of the 84. That's the same one with Evander Holyfield and all those boys.
And
Whitaker and all them.
Whitaker.
Yep. So you have him, who is a badass. He is someone who was a welterweight champion, a reigning welterweight champion. This dude is an absolute beast of a man. One of the greatest Golden Glove champions to ever come out of New York. And he was in there when New York had killers. So let's
hold on. New York still got killers. Watch your mouth.
They do. And half of them be coming on the Fight Podcast. So I love all them brothers.
New York, we got Berlanga and we got Fimo right now. Oh, I ain't trying to hear none of that.
I mean, y'all killing the game right now. Only thing Chicago has right now is Jessica McCaskill.
Chicago's not a combat sports city. Maybe on the MMA side, but I mean, basketball, football, who else y'all got? Maybe we take this a whole
historically. Let's not get in this, man, because I don't feel like hurting your heart, man. Historically, Chicago gets down. Okay.
That's
and
fair.
Let's be honest with you. Wrestling wise, we would fuck all y'all up.
Wrestling, as in like CM Punk wrestling.
No, not pro wrestling, man. I'm talking about actual Punk. I'm putting on some damn singlets. We out here, double-legged cats.
But CM Punk is from Chicago.
I know what this is. CM Punk is from Chicago. who it's the New York thing, isn't it? You're hating that Chicago has always been a better basketball city. That's what it is.
I was actually complimenting you. You think the CM Punk was an insult on the MMA side, but you forget that I'm actually a wrestling fan. So for what CM Punk did on the WWE side, you get respect for that a little bit. I don't know. You got Curtis Blaze. I mean, when CM Punk was wrestling, he was that guy. He was type of that pipe bomb shit that he pulled. I mean, I don't want to go too far off base, but he was that guy. There are athletes in Chicago. There are athletes in New York. That's Mark Breeland.
Belair, what's her name? Bianca Belair. Get that chip.
Win the Rumble. She ain't get the chip yet. She won the Rumble.
No,
she gets the main event WrestleMania, or she gets to have, I guess, be in the women's main event of WrestleMania.
And against Sasha Banks, the other black chick.
Well, she gets to choose. So there's Raw and there's SmackDown, and there's champions on both Raw and SmackDown. So when you win the Rumble, you get to choose what champion you want to challenge at WrestleMania, which is like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of all the pay-per-views. They have like pay-per-views every 2-3 weeks, but like WrestleMania is the important pay-per-view.
Salute to our wrestling correspondent who comes on the show, Dre. Dre is amazing at what she does. And salute to all my people, watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Yes.
Hey,
yes,
Mr. Black,
Darnell,
Mr. Black.
Yes, you are turning me a little bit, and I hate to admit it. You are. I see him chiming in. You got me, all right? You got me.
Hey, if you saw the pipe bomb, legend. But back to Mark Breeland, one of the true badasses out of the state of New York, gold medalist in the 1984 Olympic team, which was a star-studded Olympic team. And so, he is essentially the lone person on Deontay Wilder's team, which the main two people are Mark Breeland and Jay Diaz. Jay Diaz is listed as the head trainer. Mark Breeland is listed as the assistant trainer, even though he's the one
I have some boxing
expertise. And Sergio has plenty of thoughts. You can go back and listen. He's pretty much been consistent this entire time. And if you go and listen to what he said after the fights, I mean, he's been consistent about, hey, he thinks Deontay Wilder has yes men around him, and he's fucking crazy for booting Mark Breeland when he's the only one with any type of boxing experience. Like, I like to play devil's advocate, so I did at the time, but Sergio was absolutely right, and that's exactly what played out in Mark Breeland's first interview. So Mark Breeland, since he stops the fight in the 7th round as Deontay Wilder is getting crushed by Tyson Fury, just raining down right hands, his legs were unstable, he's bleeding from the ear, like literally from his ear, he was bleeding.
Literally bleeding from his ear, yes. Absolutely.
We still have and then he said that Tyson Fury must have somehow put his finger through the glove and cut him in the ear. Wild excuses, but Mark Breeland saw that, like a good trainer should have, at a certain point, you have to save your fighter. Now, Deontay Wilder, he is the Bronx Bomber.
Real quick, I do want to read this quote that he made in this for you, because it's right in line with what you're just talking about. And so Mark Breeland in this same interview goes out to say, "So I'm not a doctor, but I know blood coming out of your ears and dazed eyes could be a brain issue. And power comes from your legs, and his legs were gone. So I made the decision to stop the fight, and I'll do it all again. I have a son Deontay's age. I'm not looking to see him go out there on his shield. I hope we all stay safe. There's so many bigger issues in the world." That is from Mark Breeland, a direct quote from that interview that you're talking about. I'm sorry, brother. Continue.
No, absolutely. So Deontay Wilder hates the fact that Mark Breeland threw in the towel and actually fires Mark Breeland, the person on his training team with the most boxing experience. Pretty curious decision, but there was a clear rift.
The only boxing experience. And dude, this is one of those things that just drives me fucking crazy about Deontay Wilder. And I know you feel me on this one. I really do. The fact that if you listen to the entire interview, Mark Breeland goes on and sit there and say that he walked in. Jay Diaz, who owns a boxing gym, Jay Diaz has no boxing experience. Jay Diaz is not a real trainer. The thing about Jay Diaz is that once Deontay Wilder came in the gym, he did what many coaches do when you get an elite talent to come in the gym. What he said was, "Hey, Mark Breeland, I got a guy. Could you come over here and work with this guy?" He came out there and did that. just because Jay Diaz knew him first is the only actual reason why he has the title of head trainer. He gives no direction. All he does is listen to what the fuck Deontay Wilder says. Throughout the interview, he says, in the beginning, this wasn't the issue. The more he started knocking out, the team got bigger and bigger, and he started talking, listening to everybody else but the people that matters.
Some key pieces of the training aspect. Deontay Wilder he rarely runs. He doesn't like to. He doesn't hit the heavy bag. What else does it say that he doesn't do? Because they were like significant things.
Doesn't jump rope.
So doesn't jump rope, doesn't hit the heavy bag, doesn't run.
Do the three essential things that boxers do. And this is why I'm so pissed off about this. I have sat here and defended this man till I was blue in the fucking face. And he goes out there and just proves to all of us that he's an ass. To go out there and to sit there and say, Mark Breeland, the person that legitimately cared about your life, he cared about your life so much and you as a person so much, he did not want to see you injured anymore. You fired that man. And you sit there and you tell people I want to die in the ring. You have, not even bullshitting, this nigga has like 8 children. 8 kids. Fam, Mark Breeland, look out for your life. You need to be thanking that man's lucky stars because I can't lie to you. 99 out of 100 times, Tyson Fury whoops your ass.
I totally agree. Absolutely agree. And the essence of Mark Breeland went into this podcast interview. He hasn't said anything since he was fired from Deontay Wilder's camp. Goes to the interview, says a lot of the things that Sergio just mentioned. He asked him not to talk about Wilder. They did it anyway. He was a bit triggered, let loose in the interview, and then clarified in an Instagram post. And that's where we stand now. Wilder did respond saying, hey, staying firm, which is fucking crazy. I don't know. It really does prove that he has yes men in his corner, that he's still staying firm, that my water was spiked. And you released your first interview on a UK podcast. That's how I know you spiked my water. Your energy was mad weird after the first Tyson Fury fight and the second fight. I'm like, my guy, just chill. Like I want to like you. It's Black History Month. I'm not even trying to do all that. I want to like you. I want you to get back in the ring. I want you to knock somebody's face off. You took a loss. Cool. You say it's not the end, it's the beginning. You're going to have to prove that. We have not been close to a Deontay Wilder fight in so long. I know initially there were some talks of him and Charles Martin. It looks like Charles.
It has been a solid year.
A full year. February 22nd was the fight.
Yep. It's been a solid year. Because you know how I remembered? Because he got his ass whooped in Black History Month. That's why.
It was bad. But I mean, the Mark Breeland comments provided insight to Deontay Wilder that we just haven't seen before. And they align with some of the things that you may have thought. He essentially had his glow up. As he glowed up, he became a little bit more of a diva. He acted like he knew more about boxing than everybody else in his camp and started essentially creating his own workouts, did what he wanted to, showed up when he wanted to. And not to say he wasn't working hard, but he wasn't necessarily working smart either, because he wasn't listening to the people that know boxing, the people that are saying, hey, let's work on a jab. Nah, I don't need to work on a jab because I'm Deontay Wilder and I have fucking dynamite in my right hand. That's not necessarily true, because Tyson Fury doesn't have dynamite and he just obliterated you. That's something all of us always saw this coming. And what really happened was that the heavyweight division wasn't talented enough to expose that. But we always knew that Deontay Wilder was, a little bit green around the ears when it came to boxing.
Many deficiencies, yeah.
So many. So, I mean, it provided insight that we had never seen before. We looked at Wilder as one type of guy, and Mark Breeland paints him as another type of guy. However, Mark Breeland's statements are a little bit more backed up by the facts and what you're seeing today, and they align with the actions of Deontay Wilder, whereas the words of Deontay Wilder don't necessarily align with the actions and the reputation of Mark Breeland. And so right now, I'm going to be team Mark Breeland. And I'm not saying I don't like Wilder. I don't like what he did to Mark Breeland. I would love to see Wilder return. I would love to see him win a belt again. But right now, he looks bad, and I think he did wrong to Mark Breeland. Mark Breeland was with his team for a very long time. Y'all supposed to be loyal to each other.
I've lost so much respect for Deontay Wilder, to be honest with you. To the point that I wish the best for Deontay Wilder. He's not going to win another belt. It's not going to happen.
Oh, now, a matchup that people keep throwing around is an Andy Ruiz fight. Andy Ruiz now with Eddie Reynoso.
Deontay Wilder.
Eddie Reynoso, Andy Ruiz.
Dude, and Eddie Reynoso, Andy Ruiz is terrifying. It's terrifying. Especially because we're talking about an Andy Ruiz that is embarrassed. And is literally felt like shit for the last year and a half and wants to get that get back. If they make that fight, I'll be honest with you, that is not the fight that Deontay Wilder wants. Andy Ruiz,
I still think Deontay Wilder.
I think he puts his punches together too much. And I'll be honest with you, at least
don't think
at
it's
this
a chance.
point in time. And what was that?
I don't think he gets a chance to put his punches together. He has to get to Deontay Wilder to do that. I mean, Deontay Wilder, we won't act like he has the best footwork.
I think he stays in Deontay Wilder's chest. I think he gets in Deontay Wilder's chest from the beginning and he beats his ass. He literally implement the exact same game plan that Tyson Fury did. Yes, Tyson Fury was a taller man, so he would kind of lay on him a little bit more. But obviously, he's the heavier man. I think he'll use his weight to his advantage. I think, granted, we're talking about a hypothetical fight.
Yeah.
We do not know if this is going to happen or not. But this is how I would actually see this fight, especially with somebody that is as amazing with game planning as Eddie Reynoso is, who we're going to talk about in a second in our next topic.
However, you feel like AJ would lose to Wilder. Correct?
Wait, say that one more time?
You feel like in a hypothetical matchup at this point in time that AJ would lose to Wilder?
I do. I still think AJ loses to Wilder.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about styles make matchups.
They
right?
do make
it's
fights.
Styles. And AJ, he gets hit too easily. He still holds his head up too high. And I'm going to be honest with you. That old school AJ that we used to see, that guy's gone. That guy's gone, man.
He has a pull counter now.
He does.
Didn't have that before. Did not have that before. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited for the Tyson Fury fight, which, I don't think boxing is going to let us down this one time. But we'll have to see on that front. I don't think Wilder's done, but I do think this is going to be more pressure than he's ever had on him going into a fight. He doesn't have Mark Breeland with him. A lot of his fans has turned against him due to his own doing. Can he get that old thing back, or will he just be that old thing?
I don't
you just look back. You ever date a girl? You look back years later. You're like, why the fuck did I date her?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Well, I feel like that's gonna be us with Deontay Wilder. We're gonna look at him like five years down the line. Like, why the fuck did I date him? Well, like, why? How do we ever get in that bandwagon?
We are going to, whenever COVID is over in the next 6 years, we're gonna talk about this in person and giggle our asses off. Be like, do you remember back when we used to support? Like, I'm talking about support that dude till we're blue in the face.
Still do.
Well, let's transition. Let's transition a little bit. Speaking about a fighter that we have been talking extremely positive about, on the other hand, until we're blue in the face, Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia. What was that?
I say Canelo. I got tons to say about Canelo today.
Oh, I have so much positive things to say about Canelo. He's the man. I love Canelo. Best Mexican fighter of all time.
Before we get into Garcia, I'll just drop this little tidbit. I just saw on Twitter today that he's obviously, the fights are signed for February and May. Yeah. He's also looking to fight in not only September, but December as well, trying to pull 5 times in a calendar year.
Canelo Alvarez. First of all, can we all agree that that's a pound for pound #1 guy? That's it. The guy who's legitimately trying to fight everybody. He's the man. That's the guy. He's not ducking nobody. This dude is going up weight classes. He's going down weight classes. And he's also saying, I like this weight class. I'm going to take your belt.
Yeah. I mean,
I love Caleb Plant. Did Caleb Plant blow me away this past week? No. I used to think Caleb Plant was a good matchup, stylistic matchup against Canelo Alvarez. After that fight, I said, damn, Canelo going to fuck you up too.
After that fight, I wasn't sure if he beats David Benavidez. My thing about Caleb Plant, as much as I'm a huge Caleb Plant fan, And I like him more than I like David Benavidez. However, my issue with Caleb Plant is that like he tires in fights, and maybe you don't agree with me, but he doesn't tire to the. He doesn't tire to. I know I say this about him and Gary Russell. You don't agree with me with neither. But
I have no idea what fights you're watching. What are you talking about?
His defense gets lazy later in fights, and that to me is because he's tiring. When you take a look at that fight, he took some shots towards the end of the fight, and we're talking about Caleb Truax versus a guy like David Benavidez who. He can take punches early. He's not here to dodge punches, but later on in the fights, he'll be putting those punches together, and he'll be walking you into the corner more effectively than a guy like Caleb Truax is ever able to. And you take a couple of those shots from a David Benavidez and not Caleb Truax. Then what are we looking at? And I didn't even realize the Durrell brother had knocked out Truax in the first round. So for him to go 12 with him and not get a knockout, to me,
fights, we don't know what's happening. It's always hard to sit there and make that comparison. You know what I'm saying? Because we could be like, oh, that guy knocked this dude out in the first round. It's hard to do. Like motherfuckers in MMA call MMA math. It's hard to do the same thing with boxing. You can't.
It is, but nigga, it's a Fox showcase on a Saturday night during the NFL playoffs. That is a prime spot. He has to get that knockout. I don't care. He just has to get the knockout.
No, but that's the thing. You can't.
He hurt his hand though. I'll give him a pass. He hurt his hand.
Yeah,
I'll give him that pass.
And that's the thing that I don't want people to say with boxing, man. Everyone's always like, oh, he gotta finish him. He gotta finish him. Man, some dudes aren't there to be finished. Some guys aren't there to be finished, man. Some guys are. And then it gets to a point in time, even as the more skilled guy, like everyone wants to kill Devin Haney, right? For his last performance. He still dominated from pillar to post. You know what I mean? Like he went out there and was able to showcase his skills. Not everyone is a power puncher. Floyd Mayweather didn't knock nobody out, and no one complains about that.
There's a big difference between fighting at 135 and 168. It
don't matter though. Some people got pop, other people don't. And it being somebody that we're actually looking at boxing as a technical aspect, I'm not going to do that.
Sergio, I get what you're saying. And I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you. But what do the people want to see in that prime spot?
It don't matter. You want to see skills, fam. We're talking about like okay. So let me play devil's advocate. Yes, I agree with you. In terms of if I'm a casual fan and I just want to see blood and guts, 1,000%. Business-wise, I want people to knock people out, right? I get that. We're not here for the casual fans. We're here to keep it a buck. And at the end of the day, the person I care about who is better. I don't care if who hits harder. That means nothing to me.
You know what?
And that's the thing. Prime example. Deontay Wilder hits really fucking hard. Who's a better fighter? Him or Tyson Fury? Tyson Fury barely has no pop. If he goes 12 rounds, why do we care? We should be now him. If a heavyweight who is 400 pounds goes out there and doesn't knock people out, maybe we should talk shit. But if a guy who's 180 pounds when he's walking around, that's not his style. Who cares?
Look, I hear what you're saying. We're here for the fights. We need Caleb Plant. Listen to me. We need Caleb Plant to be in the most advantageous position to fight Canelo. So you need to make impressive performances. So the people, Canelo listens to the people. And Canelo's already mentioned Caleb Plant.
If he listen to the people, he wouldn't be fighting Billy Joe Saunders. And you know what I'm saying? He'd be fighting other people. Damn, it's still business.
So you think Billy Joe Saunders is a bad fight?
No, I think it's a great fight. I think he should take that fight. But
yeah, and he's also talking about Caleb Plant after that. But a knockout by Caleb Plant, that gets people talking. Caleb Plant is a growing fighter. He's not established yet. So that's a big spot. He needs to make the most out of that spot and elevate himself. So if he wants that Canelo fight, because he's not going to take the Benavidez fight prior to the Canelo fight, because he wants to save himself for that Canelo fight. But if you want that cash, then put on a performance that gives you more leverage in negotiations.
My only thing is, and I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, you cannot go fishing for knockouts. That is how you put yourself in bad positions, and that's how you get knocked the fuck out yourself. Or that's how you're fishing for a knockout. You get hit by a shot. It might not finish you, but it hurts you. What looks worse? You getting staggered by a dude that you shouldn't have been in there with, who you feel like you should knock out. Let's say if Truax like staggered him, had his ass out here doing a stanky leg. still gets a fight, but he gets staggered. What will look worse? Him not knocking him out or him going for a knockout, putting himself in the worst position and then getting clipped, not getting hurt, but getting clipped?
He was
What
getting
would
clipped
look
anyway,
worse? Huh?
He was, in my opinion, he was getting clipped anyway. He would have got clipped a lot less if he would have spent his time on the inside.
All right. Agree to disagree. Let's move on.
I also think I'm thinking more like the business of it, what it would do for his profile, what it's going to do for his image. You're talking about the art of boxing, and you're totally right. Like, you're not wrong whatsoever. I think kind of just talking to two different points.
Yeah, that's my only thing. And again, I understand in terms of the business of fighting, yeah, we want to see blood and guts, right? But I want us to sit there and actually let the people know about the beauty of the sport. Because that's what I love. I love talking about the beauty of the sport. I love the skill, guys. Power is cool. Don't get me wrong. I love a guy who can sit there and knock somebody out clean. I love Anthony Rumble Johnson. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he doesn't have skills because he does. But who do I prefer to watch? I want to see Israel Adesanya fight all day.
By the way, there's a guy in the comment that says, hey, no, we want KOs, especially when you're buying pay-per-view. Not sure who he is, but shout out to the support. Why didn't you tell me I was getting support in the comments?
No, I hear you. And I peep what Buddy said. I just didn't feel like saying anything about it. I seen it. I was like, okay, I hear you. And look, in terms of the fan, yes, 1,000%. We want to see knockouts. Let's see knockouts, right? I get it. That shouldn't matter as much, especially because the sport isn't a sport that is just knockouts. If that was the case, go to bare knuckle fighting. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the sport of boxing. That's what we're talking about. It's a sport. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people need. And this is the problem. This is why we got fuckboy Jake Paul going out there and doing shit, because people don't appreciate the art.
No. That's not the reason why Jake Paul is out there doing shit. The reason why Jake Paul is out there trying to do that is because the actual boxers, the boxers that we expect to fight, they don't fight. They want to let fights marinate. They want to let fights get paid. So fans get restless. They start watching MMA. They get frustrated. They'll watch Jake Paul because
whoa. Don't say, you made it seem like cats be watching MMA. Just they watch it because they put on a better product. That's why they watch MMA.
I agree with you, but I mean, these are, maybe someone that's a hardcore boxing fan for a long time is just bored waiting for Errol Spence.
Teddy Atlas left y'all.
I don't think he left us.
He said, what did Teddy say? He said this. They don't even do it in boxing. You see this?
Teddy Atlas couldn't leave boxing if he wanted to. You rarely see people in life. There's probably less than 5 people on this entire earth that are more passionate about boxing than Teddy Atlas. Like I would not be shocked.
Some of the greatest cornering of all time. Some of the greatest corner speeches of all time.
I think he was the guy. I think he was the voice of Fight Night. He has crazy quotables. He has like good, amazing corner work, but also just quotables. Just he goes crazy. I like him. He just real New York, like super thick New York accent. But love me some Teddy Atlas.
Well, let's talk about this one because, like I said, we're obviously we're fans of dude. But let's talk about Let's talk about Pac-Man and Ryan Garcia real fast.
I think it's dead.
This is a fight that a lot of people,
I think it's dead,
have been anticipating. It's a fight that you and I honestly were kind of against. You can say confused was a better way to put it. But it seems like they're having some snags. People are talking about the fight being an exhibition of some sort, all kinds of other things. What is your take on this fight, and is this fight actually going to happen?
And I didn't mean to interrupt you in the beginning, but I already kind of said it. I think the fight is dead. From everything that I'm hearing, everything that I'm reading, the fight seems to be dead in the water. At some point in time, obviously, you've got your boy Garcia posting on his Instagram, like they were in talks, but it just seems to have gone dead for whatever reason. I don't remember a particular reason, but it seems to have gone dead. Pacquiao has been, changed to the champion in recess or whatever. And I think Ryan Garcia is looking other directions as well. I don't know what happened, but I mean, it was a difficult odd fight to make. They were looking at a catch weight, then they were talking about exhibition, then they weren't talking about exhibition. I think there were some details of the fight that just weren't fully thought out. And yeah, while Manny Pacquiao could probably come down on weight, like how feasible is it to go down in weight to fight somebody like, or Ryan Garcia to just go?
Years old, not two weight classes.
Ryan Garcia won't lose anything for a loss to Pacquiao. Well, he's gonna jump up to 147 just to get his ass crushed. Like, oh, what does that do to a fighter like that? That that can hurt a fighter's career. That's why you do in certain cases bring fighters along, because they need that a little bit more. You don't send a guy out there to get knocked out by Pacquiao. Now, Ryan Garcia, he maybe not say he has no chance against Pacquiao. He's a very skilled fighter in his own right. He's not on that level, in my opinion, but still a young skilled fighter. So you never know what can happen. But
he does have. I mean, he would have a reach. He'd have youth. He'd have a reach. He'd have height. So he does have advantages, obviously. But I mean, come on, we're talking about one of the GOATs. You know what I mean?
And I also think for him, I'm back in the business side of things. But you're part of what we call the Fab Five. Yep. All of the Fab Five is taking. They're trying to
coined by none other than the Guru B. Camm.
The Guru. I found it on Twitter. I can't even claim that shit. Plagiarism, but for all intents and purposes, it's me. The Fab Five.
I'm telling people it was you.
Oh, that's fair. The Fab Five, they're all trying to make career-defining fights right now, while you have probably this is the second most impressive fight amongst the group. You don't need to fall behind in that. And if you essentially take a break in your career to do a sideshow with Manny Pacquiao, whether you win or lose, you lose ground in that weight in that race. Then you talk about now you got to come back down the rate. What is your body going to do? All because you wanted to take this time off to have a sideshow when you could make the same name for yourself, actually fighting the motherfuckers that are relevant in your division. Maybe the motherfucker that's under the same banner as you, that you're a mandatory for his belt. Nothing wrong with that. Devin Haney want to fight. He just don't want to fight. And that's an easy fight to make, G.
I'm glad you're saying it, because I'm
out here ranting.
I feel like I'm actually glad you're bringing this up, because a lot of people have not been talking about Devin Haney. Devin Haney, I feel like, has almost felt like the odd man out in certain capacities. I'm extremely
he's definitely like outside of boxing. Like, you don't know Devin Haney if you're not black.
Facts. But the thing about Devin Haney is, I think him and Shakur Stevenson might be the two best when it's all said and done. I'm not saying that it is. They truly might end up being. What do you think is going to happen with him? Do you think this is a fight that are we going to see Ryan Garcia in him?
With Manny Pacquiao or Devin Haney?
Devin Haney.
Not right now. It's honestly, I think, quite possible that Devin Haney could take a loss against maybe you say a guy like Teofimo Lopez, and maybe then that fight is no longer on the table. I mean, I don't know, but I think
interesting.
I feel like I feel like they really want to save some of these fights for higher weight classes and for some reason. Like, I feel like some of these fights are like, I feel like a Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, like, we could see that like at 147. We'll be mad as fuck that we waited so long, but like, them boys gonna be at 147 in a few years. Maybe not Tank, maybe not Lopez, but them two are gonna make it.
No, those two definitely will end up being at 47. They're definitely gonna end up being at 47. It drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. It doesn't make sense why. And you and I recently were on a call, and we talked about how all these guys are here. They're all in the same weight class. They're right there to actually compete against one another. And the politics of boxing is showing itself once again. Is it going to be another version of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford with any of these young guys? Are we going to see any? What do you think is going to be the first one of these do we actually see? Yeah. What's up? Tell me.
I think it might be. No, I was gonna say Tank and Lopez, but that promotional shit is gonna get real messy.
It's gonna get super messy.
Lopez, I think he ends up moving up without fighting any of them, and he'll be trying to. Yeah, because I mean, he's already saying that he wants to make. Like, I don't think Lopez can fight in this division outside of 2021. Like, no matter what,
he's just too big.
Yeah, I mean, he used to have trouble making weight, then he got with a new dietary or nutritionalist company or something like that, and he's been doing a lot better. But even with him doing a lot better, he knows, and he said like he has two fights left this division. So if he depending on what happens with George Kambosos, if they can make that fight happen, like you think maybe that fight and maybe one more fight. So you're talking about one opportunity for him to fight one of them, and just if he does, maybe Devin Haney, depending on where he's at that time, because they both say they want to make that happen. I think that's likely possible.
I'm about to say that fight feels like it's more like something that might actually happen in the near future. I'm here for that fight. Do you favor one of them over the other at this point in time?
I'm gonna have to favor Lopez. I think he's found a way to make it happen against a few different styles now. And see, that's why I weigh so heavily on resume. In reality, skills pay the bills. And at the eye test makes you think that probably Devin Haney, because it's not like Lopez dominated Lomachenko at any point in time. But he did win the fight. He won against Richard Comey. He has been in at least 2 top-level fights at this point in time. You don't have any of that for Devin Haney. So just automatically, even though Devin Haney passes the eye test,
that's not on Devin Haney.
It's for some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably favor Teofimo in that matchup, and that would be a crazy run for Teofimo to win against Lomachenko, to handle his mandatory, fight one of them guys, and then go, because he wants the winner of Taylor Lopez. Taylor, is it Lopez? Ramirez? Ramirez. Taylor. He wants the winner of that, so he could be undisputed at 140. That's a crazy run he's trying to go on. I don't think he makes it through that.
He won't. No, he won't. But you know what? I'm not mad at him though, and that's my thing. He dares to be great. I fuck with anybody that dares to be great. I wish there were more guys in boxing that are actually willing to make that happen, and that's my thing about these young guys. I generally believe that they are. I just hope that the politics in boxing doesn't hinder this shit from happening, because there's so many. All of them should fight. We should see them all fighting within the next year. And the fact that these greedy fucks, these greedy fucking promoters aren't making it happen is an issue. So real quick, before we move on, and I want to talk about some of the fights that are coming up this upcoming weekend. For you, which of those matchups do you actually believe will be the first if we do see one of them? What will be the first one we see out of the Fab Five?
Lopez Haney.
Yeah?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I like it. All right, let's move on a little bit. This weekend, we got some boxing coming up, bro. And a little bit. So I'm going to let you run through the mix, man. Let me know what's going on. And, yeah, we can talk a little MMA and some culture after that if you like.
Yes, sir. So what we got going on this weekend? So this weekend we have Joe Smith Jr. fighting for the vacant.
Joe Smith is back.
Joe Smith, Long Island, for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. That is important because whoever the winner of this fight, he's fighting a guy named Maxim Vlasov. Not familiar with him, not familiar with his work, but
can probably get hit with a brick and be okay.
Maybe, or he's a Russian scrub. I've seen that too. So yeah. So one of the two, Joe Smith will be fighting him. You probably favor Joe Smith in this fight, and that can set up a unification with him and Artur Beterbiev, which would be a huge fight for as long as it lasts. But I think they're two come forward fighters. That would be a very, very exciting fight. I don't think it'll
beat his ass.
Yeah, I think obviously Beterbiev gets the knockout, but it's not like Beterbiev ain't been dropped before by a random. It's not like he got dropped by someone like all that impressive. He has been dropped before. So while he's looked super impressive in all of his fights, he ain't made his chin ain't made of steel. He could be dropped just like anybody else.
Yo,
and Joe Smith, it's not to say Joe Smith he's a power puncher.
And for those who do not know who Beterbiev is, the best way I can explain him is that he is the Khabib of boxing. That is the best way I can explain his style. This motherfucker's he is a body snatcher. He is a come downhill type of dude. He is just a tough son bitch. I'm a huge fan of him.
If Artur Beterbiev didn't exist, Canelo probably still be fighting at 175.
Facts. Canelo don't want no smoke with that.
Nope. I mean, yeah, at a certain point, maybe you can try and push for it. Like Canelo's about that action and I I mean, look, you think about if Canelo wants to go undisputed at 168, you know, he got at least two, 3 more fights before he can do that, whatever. So, which I mean, he maybe can tackle before the end of this year. Better be if it's like 35. He's not young.
No, he's
so
not.
now we're talking about 2022. Like, you know, maybe better be if goes through a war with Joe Smith Jr. or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna say it's absolutely impossible, but not right now.
Yo, you know, Better BF fucking beat like Triple G in the amateurs or some shit. He beat like everybody in the amateurs.
He beat a lot of people.
Yeah, he beat.
I think he may have gotten beat by Usyk. I think that's it.
No, he beat up Usyk. He beat Usyk. He beat up really? Usyk in the amateurs. Yeah, look it up.
I'll look it up later. But I know all them boys fought in the amateurs. I can't remember who beat who, but all of them Kovalev too. They was fighting each other. That's a great
Better
time.
beat him too.
Yeah, no, Better BF smoked a lot of them. I know Better BF and Usyk, obviously, they the two best of that crop. Because Triple G, who else was out there? Anybody notable?
Triple
I can't
G,
think of anyone.
Better BF, Alexander, what's his name that just got beat by Better BF last year? Voisdick. Hey, Better BF beat him in the amateurs too.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, it's crazy. All these talented ass pros were just in the amateurs, just in these empty ass gyms, just like going ham,
beating the shit out of each other, just going crazy.
Consistently.
Well, you know what? That I remember because in the Olympic trials, I saw Shakur Stevenson fight. I saw remember Rashidi Davis? What was his name? He was a smaller dude.
Rashidi Ellis.
Ellis or Davis, a small dude, but he was like one of the bigger names coming out of that Olympics, but he didn't end up getting the chip that one. I saw Teofimo compete in that one also, in that Olympic trials. I was there for that, and seeing all these dudes before they're even names, and then watching them. I mean, those are the guys that really still stood out. And I'm talking about I was watching Teofimo with headgear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's before a couple years ago when he was still in the Olympic trials, you still had to wear headgear. Now they don't wear headgear anymore. They did at that point in time. Yeah. It's crazy to see that and think about these guys going at it in that level.
Yeah.
Any other boxing news you want to touch on? Yeah.
Do you think that that's like the Eastern European that they are dominating compared to, like, you know, maybe Hispanics or African Americans? Like this, and Paulie Malignaggi, this is what he got kicked off of Showtime for saying. He said that Eastern Europeans are dominating boxing right now, and they was like, can't say that.
They are dominating boxing right now, and it's not just in that. I mean, okay, this is the thing: the people that dominate in combat sports generally come from terrible low socioeconomic places. When the Italians were whooping ass, Rocky Marciano and shit, they were the niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it go through history in boxing. It's literally the people that are at the very bottom are the ones that are they're the ones that are dominating at that time. You're always going to get, obviously, certain crops of guys. You're always going to get badass Mexicans. You're always going to get badass Puerto Ricans. You're always going to get badass black dudes. But there's going to be hit certain points in time where you get certain places. And right now, dude, they got it, man. They got it. And it's not just in fucking boxing. Dude, Dagestan is dominating and Russia is dominating MMA, man. It's just guys from that part of the world, bro. That shit, them motherfuckers is scary.
I feel like actually they just have a few big stars that maybe they didn't have star power. We don't talk about any Russians for a long part of boxing history. So I mean, maybe it's the fact that, like, we're not used to having.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut
you. I was gonna say maybe that's the fact that we're just not used to having them. Because I'm looking through the list of boxing champions right now, and like, while there are names up there, some of them we know, a couple that we don't. Like, there's compared to everybody else, I feel like the British have a ton.
This is a golden era of British boxing right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're really killing it right now. They got guys on every level that, I mean, I'm not gonna say are gonna like win every chip or nothing like that, but they got motherfuckers at every level that can go.
And you know how I really feel? Like, I won't lie, like, I cannot fucking stand the fact that the UK got all the heavyweight belts. That shit feels so bad.
It eats at me, bro. It eats at my soul, bro. Like, it ain't no way in hell that Britain should have all the heavyweight chip. And you know,
it's not like Klitschko's fighting.
Dog, hey, you know what? It's one of those things that I can make the excuse now. But like, look, man, it's because all our big guys play basketball and football. Like that's why. Sorry, we win that shit too.
Do we have any other heavyweights? They got Jared Anderson. They pushing him on ESPN, but he doesn't really do much for me. I'm like, he'll knock out these 6-rounders, but he can get beat up.
He can get beat up.
I mean, like maybe we just haven't seen him against top competition, but
I mean, you know what though? But regardless of not being an American, well, Andy Ruiz, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
he's one of us.
Yeah, he not claiming us. He don't really claim America. Like that's a Mexican champion.
He always said he Mexican American. That nigga don't speak Spanish.
He don't speak Spanish either. I was kind of surprised here. Ryan Garcia didn't speak Spanish. I didn't know that until the Campbell fight. But damn, I guess I don't consider Andy Ruiz an American champion. I don't know. I consider him a Mexican champion. I feel like
from LA.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's just it's fucked up in my head. But yeah, I guess he is American.
Yeah, he one of us, man. It's an American champ, man.
Can you claim 2 countries?
Like, I sure shit do.
I'm saying, but like Usman, I feel like he claims Nigeria. He don't really claim the US. I feel like he says it, but he
born there
in Nigeria.
Yeah, he was born in Nigeria.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair. But Andy Ruiz is just an LA kid.
Yeah, like Andy, when you born in LA and shit, man, you can't sit here and claim Mexico. Fuck.
Oh, what is he even doing? What do you mean? When the belly was doing
Mexican? He always says he's Mexican American.
Okay then. So you can't act like he didn't play on that. The fact that he was the first Mexican heavyweight champion, like that was a big part of his shtick. Huge part of his shtick.
Because it's a big deal to have a Mexican heavyweight champion. It is a big
I know,
deal,
but
he always says Mexican.
That's why I thought that way, because that was a big part of who he was when he blew up. Like the first Mexican heavyweight champion since
it's the same thing like Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez isn't technically the first Mexican champion because he's a heavyweight, but he was the first Mexican American. He's from Arizona.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? So you get those dudes, they still Mexican as a fan. You can't tell them niggas nothing else. You know what I'm saying? They Mexican, but they Mexican American.
It was when Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder had the belts. It never felt like the U.S. had all the belts.
We had all the belts, bro.
It didn't feel like that.
We had all the belts. And
it
now
didn't feel like that.
Came over there and kicked our ass, and now they got all the belts.
And we have no chance.
None. Hey, thank God we dominate the rest of the weight classes.
Yeah.
Really quick, man. Anything else you want to touch on in the boxing end? Yes, please.
I got sidetracked. My bad.
Guru's Corner.
Fights coming up this weekend. So that Joseph card, Richard Comey will be fighting on that undercard. Also this weekend, you have Jojo Diaz defending his junior IBF junior lightweight title that he took from Tevin Farmer on the undercard. Patrick Teixeira and Brian Castano for Teixeira's WBO junior middleweight title. That'll be a fight to watch. And next week, a potential fight of the year candidate will be Miguel Burchell versus Oscar Valdez for Burchell's WBC junior lightweight title, and that will be on ESPN.
I can't wait.
Fight of the year.
Oh my
God! That is on.
Sir,
what a birthday gift! What a birthday gift! What a birthday gift for you!
What day is that on?
That is on Sergio's birthday. He gets to watch an amazing fight on his birthday. That's like a dream come true.
It is. You know what the biggest gift I got on my birthday was? Already, I got it. Biggest gift I got on my birthday is fucking Floyd Mayweather's fight got canceled. Thank God. Did not need that shit on my birthday. Motherfucker, peace out.
Did you see that what was that? I think the Josh Taylor fight? Was that the Taylor fight?
Yeah.
The fight that got moved off Canelo's date?
Yep. What about it?
Did you see that it got moved off the date? They had scheduled on the same date, and boxing fans lost their minds. And I think it was Jose Ramirez Taylor. They were like, "Yeah, we'll figure this out."
I'm glad they did.
We'll figure it out. It's Canelo.
Yeah, straight up. I know. I'm glad they did, man.
I honestly,
it's fucking Canelo fight.
I wish they would have stayed on the date and just staggered the times. Like I think there's time for both. We just watched a pay-per-view double header.
You mean like doing it like how they used to do it in the I you know what? Just like the Charlo card. Yeah, they should have done that. They could have done that. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're trying to really get out there and actually make a fan base. You know, Canelo's gonna suck all the air out of it. It's not like the two Charlos. They bring their own fan base. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Those guys aren't gonna bring the same fan base.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you need it on a weekend where nothing else is happening because that fight definitely needs people to watch. And I think like if Canelo isn't fighting, it gets more of attention. But even if Canelo's fighting that same weekend, like you just hear more about Canelo, you don't hear about this, and it doesn't get as much attention, even if it does show at a different time. So
right. And it wouldn't be worth it for those guys' time. You know what I'm saying? Just for them, it wouldn't be worth it. Anything else on the any news and notes in the boxing world?
I think AB fights next weekend too. Adrian Bronner. We'll see.
He was supposed to fight Michel Rivera, who was on our show, and he actually turned that fight down.
Positive.
Yep, not Michel Rivera, who was on the Fight Podcast. AB turned that fight down.
Oh, but the fight was originally against, I feel like someone else who had to.
It was originally against somebody else. He was the next guy coming up, Michel Rivera, and they were getting everything signed. That's what he was talking about on the episode with us. Everything was getting signed, and AB last minute called it off. Now, the fight that they're trying to get at this point in time now for Michel Rivera, who trains up there, again, New York dude out there, Dominican cat out of New York, he's they're trying to make that fight with Ryan Garcia, and that might actually end up being the next fight for Ryan Garcia.
Yep. Not necessarily. It's not a good fight for
the next fight. For who? For Ryan?
Ryan Garcia. I feel like you can't, like, even though he may be very talented, you can't just not fight a commodity at this point in time. Actually, the fight I feel like I heard Haney versus Linares thrown around recently.
I did too.
That's a great fight.
I'm here for that shit.
If it's not going to be one of the horsemen, let it be Jorge Linares, and I'll be happy about that.
I'll be happy. And here's the thing: Linares puts himself in positions to get hit. Devin Haney will put on a show against him.
You just don't know what you're going to get with Linares. You get the guy that's shown against Lomachenko, or the guy that got knocked out in the first round. A couple fights after.
We'll see. I'll be honest with you. I think that would be a good one. That would be a good showcase for Devin Haney. I hope that happens.
That'll be huge.
Huge. It'll be huge. And that will actually leapfrog him up to the top of the the Fab Five.
He can't go to the top because
the top. Well, you know what? Damn. Really, actually, will he just stay in the third? He'll kind of stay in the same. I think he'll comfortably put him in the number 2 spot.
Is that a more impressive win than Luke Campbell? But by decision, is it a more impressive win than Luke Campbell? I mean, Linares beat Luke Campbell.
By decision, it depends on if it depends.
Even though Linares beat Luke Campbell?
That's a good point. You're right. But you know what? No, you got to give it to him. If he goes out, especially if he dominates him, be like, Linares beat the guy you beat. You know, your best win, my biggest win is bigger than your bigger win. But at the same time, the argument could be made, well, you're getting Linares late. Linares beat him in his prime, and this guy is in, you know what I'm saying? He got beat in his prime. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense, or did I stumble over that?
I feel what you're saying. Linares is probably a bit underappreciated. Like, he ain't been in a fight in a minute, but he was willing to get in.
Underappreciated.
He's willing to get in there with Garcia. He's willing to get in there with Haney. Like, he'll get in there with anybody. He may take a loss, but he be coming back.
That's a fighter. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's why I fuck with dudes like that. All right, we got to get out of here. It's coming up to the hour, that young hour mark, and we want this whole episode to live on IG. So, brother, anything else you want to get out here before we get out?
That is all, my guy. I'll be back here very, very soon, and we'll be talking about that Burchell versus Valdez fight next week. So I will see you then.
Can't wait. Well, there it is, man. Well, my brother, it is what it is. This weekend on the MMA end, we got Gilbert Burns versus Kamara Usman. That's going to be an entertaining fight.
What can I expect from that? Who's your pick? I feel like you might pick Burns. I feel like Burns could. I feel like the wrestling is really close, but like, because Burns is a black belt, I believe you probably give maybe the edge to him. And on top of that, I think like the thing that gives him the edge is that his strikes actually have consequences. Where like Usman can hit you all night, he don't really got great power. So if the wrestling kind of gates each other out, that striking can be the separator.
So here's my thing. Here's
Can't take the
the way I
shots
look at it.
Covington.
Man, so here's this way I look at it. Kamar Usman absolutely has the better wrestling, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's a monster. But the difference is this: you're talking about a guy who is a world champion in jiu-jitsu, who doesn't mind being on his back. So when he's on his back, he's going to be attacking. Yeah, so he's attacking. So Kamar Usman, what he usually does is he usually controls from the top.
I was like, Kamar, he just need to control you. He don't really need to do much. He just want to control you and take his little round.
But I'll say his striking has gotten a lot better. I'm really curious to see he's with the new team. He trains with Justin Gaethje's guys over there. So I'm curious to see what that's going to end up doing for him. Maybe those little nuances. Trevor Whitman, his coach over there now, is amazing with his game planning. So he might be able to game plan a certain way for Gilbert Burns. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? So there is that aspect of it.
We don't really have any reason not to believe in him. He's handled every test thus far. He's amazing.
And I'll tell you this. I will say this. If he gets past Gilbert Burns, I don't know who beats him. It's one of those. You know what I'm saying? And again, because of the styles, Gilbert Burns presents, in my opinion, the biggest problem for him because he can literally control you off of his back. He can control you on the ground. While, like I said, Kamar Usman is always going to try to sit there and grab you and really control you from a position. A lot of his strikes are from, which he does do an amazing ground and pound, but it's controlling you. I'm holding you. I'm controlling you. I'm beating you up. It's hard to control and beat somebody up if they're attacking you in the same manner, especially if it's somebody who is accustomed and knows what you feel like. We forget they've trained together for a decade. You know what I'm saying? For almost a decade.
Any good training stories?
For them?
Yeah.
From what I understand, it was give a little, take a little.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no guy who was actually sitting there saying that guy got me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I will say, which is interesting, though. It's interesting that the guy coming up is so enthusiastic. That's interesting to me. Because it's not like they just gave it to you. He doesn't seem happy to be here. He's like, I'm going to fuck this dude up. And he seems like he's like one of those things like he knows it. You know what I mean? That's what he looks like. He seems like he's like, I got this. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to be.
Around like what
the offensive you have a guy who go. I'm sorry.
What years they train together?
Wait, let's see.
What? Can you hear me?
Yeah, say it one more time.
What years did they train together?
Until this past year.
Okay.
So what? 2020 is when they stopped training together.
Okay, so because I was gonna, I know Gilbert Burns, he kind of like recently has been a different fighter, but they've trained together since he's had that transformation.
Yeah, he actually. They said when he moved to the States, he was his training partner. He's all he knows in the States. Like they've been trained. Like they've been, dude. Kamar Usman's been his cornerman for a couple fights. Like they know each other. Dude, I put it like this: their kids know each other to the point that they're in the countdown show. And he sits there, and Gilbert Burns says, "Oh, what's Kamaro's daughter's name?" And the kid says, "Such and such. Are you guys friends?" The little kid who's like 3 years old is like, "Yes, that's my friend." Like that's how close they are. That they know each other. Families know each other. Kids are friends, know each other. And I think this is going to be a really competitive matchup. I just look at a guy though. Gilbert Burns can hurt you standing. He can hurt you finish you on the ground. He's always trying to finish you. Kamar Usman's not. There's the difference. I generally think that, man, Gilbert might be more athletic. Might literally be more athletic. You know, and that takes nothing away from Kamar Usman. I think Kamar Usman, like I said, he's one of those guys that if he gets past this one, I don't know who beats him. He's that good.
Do you think he gets past this one?
Stylistically. I don't. I generally think that Gilbert Burns, I just think his style is the perfect style to beat him. And I think I just think he's on the right trajectory. Do I think he can be beat? Yes. I think Gilbert Burns can be beat.
How do you beat him? A Mystic SERG. Let me know how it happens.
Nah, I ain't taking that name. That name is one of my brothers, and he can keep it. But you beat Gilbert Burns. I mean, Gilbert Burns has been knocked out before. I've seen Dan Hooker at 155 knocked out Gilbert Burns. You know what I mean? Gilbert Burns is willing to exchange with you. You can knock him out if he overextends. You know what I mean? Here's the difficult thing about him though is if he hurts you, he's coming at you, and he has a gas tank to back it up. You know what I mean? So he's coming at you, and here's the thing: he's one of those guys that you have nowhere to run. I can't have. Oh, I'm gonna take him down. He's a world champion jiu-jitsu guy. Literally, might be the best we've ever seen in the sport. He's that good. You know what I'm saying? He is that good in the sport. And the thing about him, jiu-jitsu wise, is this, which I think is really interesting. He's not the best gi guy, even though he's won world championships in the gi. He's not the best no-gi guy, but he's won world championships no-gi. What he is he is the perfect combination of both, which his MMA, his jiu-jitsu translates beautifully to MMA. Okay. He's athletic. He's explosive, and he's aggressive. When you have that combination in jiu-jitsu, you're going to be tough to deal with. And then he's been training with Henry Hoof, who is Dutch kickboxing. I'm coming to fuck you up. Coming downhill, I'm whooping your ass. Big leg kicks, knockout punches. Old Mike's gym style. That's what the fuck he does. Straight Dutch style. Us. I'm coming for you. You know what I'm saying? And he taught Gilbert Burns that, and Gilbert Burns now has that wrestling on top of that savagery so he has this savage stand-up game with this fucking bananas ground game. He's a whole fucking handful, and it seems like he's finally coming into his own. He's someone to deal with, man.
And I think, like, you know, Gilbert Burns' story is like he's just a very well-rounded fighter. And you're saying, like, what I'm getting is that if there is any weakness of him at all, is that he'll put himself at risk in order to get his. Is that his only glaring weakness? Anything else?
I mean, put it like this. Ever since he's been at, think about it. You remember what he did to Tyron Woodley? Tyron Woodley is one of the greatest we've ever seen. Yeah,
but at that point, Tyron Woodley was not Tyron Woodley.
But he also whooped his ass worse than Kamara whooped his ass. Kamara never hurt Tyron Woodley. Kamara caught Tyron Woodley with elbows, and then Tyron just took him. Kobe Covington didn't hurt him on the feet. You know who did hurt him on the feet?
Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns. Dude, I've seen Gilbert Burns one-punch knockout many guys.
I'm not denying his power. Like, his power is clearly there. But all I'm saying is that, first of all, I'm a Tyron Woodley fan. Probably a little bit defensive, but that was not the same Tyron Woodley that we saw in the prime of his career.
Tyron Woodley was on our brother Mystic Black show today. You should check it out if you guys haven't.
Shout out to Mystic Black.
Super great interview. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Tyron Woodley's old ass. I mean, he's still out there kicking, but I mean, that nigga need to retire.
it's a name for like a guy like Gilbert Burns, but we know that was a shell of Tyron Woodley.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That Gilbert Burns beats any version of Tyron Woodley.
It's easy to say now, but when Tyron Woodley was in his prime, you know, it was good.
It's stylistically, I'm just saying stylistically.
Stylistically, probably would have caught one of them counter punches. That's what he was doing to people, and he could wrestle.
You know what, man? Here's the thing. I'm
not gonna say it's definitely.
I hate to sit there and feel like I'm shitting on Tyron Woodley's career.
It can go either way.
I've never been a fan, like that big of a fan of his like that. And you think I put it like this, man. He was always that dude that I picked to lose, right? Until I finally started picking him to win, and his ass started losing. He's one of those guys. You know
that hurts.
Oh, dude, I bullshit you not. The first time I've ever picked for Tyron Woodley first fight I ever picked for him. Well, it was the Darren Till fight. Go figure. He won that fight. But I picked him for I picked him for the Kamara Usman fight. Oh,
I was there for that.
Wrong.
I picked him too.
Oh, I was wrong.
I was around for that.
Oh man. Hey, I didn't pick him for the Gilbert Burns fight though.
You didn't? I remember that.
I did not. I'm telling you, Gilbert Burns is a problem, man. I think he's one of those. He's finally really hit his own. It's gonna be a good fight. Co-main event: Alexa or Grasso against Macy Barber. That's gonna be a fun fight. But the main event is where it's at. It's gonna be a good fucking fight, man. Kelvin Gastelum's also on that card.
One thing I love about MMA is a fighter that can like come into his own. Like you don't really see that in boxing as much. Like boxing, like if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Like
you ain't got it,
and it's gonna be a ton of niggas that knock you out. But like MMA, like you get like your ass thrashed and then just reinvent yourself. Like and it's just boxing is so technical. You can't make them. You can't make up them type of gaps. Where like I feel like MMA is so broad that you can address a lot because it's not as technical in certain areas.
Because that's the thing. Yeah, you can't be. It's one of those things that you can just take time in just growing and learning. And the older you get, as long as you still have some of your athleticism, that experience takes you so far. You just keep learning and you keep getting a little bit more savvy. And the thing about it's the distance also, because in boxing you're so much closer most of the time. Mm-hmm. The older guy, the older you get, that little tenth that you slow down is when you start getting fucked up. MMA, that distance is a little different, farther away, so the older guys have a little bit more room to play with. You can adjust to your strengths being away from a guy a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, the older guys give you that experience, and then they just know. Like, I mean, think about it. Fucking Stipe Miocic, that motherfucker's about to be 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are like, dude, DC was winning belts at 40. You know, so you got some of these guys. I mean,
right?
UFC getting 36.
UFC getting the most out of their stars. I guess because it takes so long to build them because they come into their prime a lot older. So they come into their prime a lot older. I guess the MMA prime, even though your body's not there, you've accumulated so much knowledge. Like it just comes together in your 30s.
Hey, as long as your body is in your mind is still held up, and your pocket essentially is still held up. You can be decent, you know. Problem is, man, you forget these, especially nowadays. You can't just be like a normal guy. Like all these guys who are fighting at the top level are like top level athletes. Like Israel Adesanya is a legit fucking athlete. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Kamara Usman is a legit fucking. These are legit athletes. You know what I'm. So it's getting. I mean, these people are badass, man. It's a lot of fun to watch. I think in both combats, all combat sports right now, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, it is such a fun time right now. It's some badasses. I do fucking Bellator. I don't know if you heard what Bellator is doing right now.
Yeah, I seen that little Grand Prix.
Yeah, they went out there. They signed with Showtime. So now Bellator fights will be on Showtime, which would be amazing. Salute to them niggas. Ugh, I love that.
I like Bellator for DAZN. I think that's a big loss.
DAZN is ass. DAZN is so ass. I don't even know why I paid for this shit. If I wasn't able to write that shit off, I'd definitely get rid of it. It is terrible. It is so bad. The production quality is ass. The matchups are ass. It is such a bad. It is such a. And then they only give you fights, bro. 2020. I need my money back for all of 2020.
You could probably get it back.
Dude, you need to, because it's ridiculous. They literally give you a month. That's all we got. We got a month. A couple good fights. That's it. You can't do that. Hey, don't even get me started with ESPN and they double paywall bullshit they got going. Got Dana sitting here trying to get all the damn all the streamers. Dana kick rock sideways, fam.
You hate the zone, but you also hate paying money. Those you can't have both. You have to like the zone if you don't like paying money
for free for all.
Yeah, I mean, but
like then Bernie Sanders of the fight game. Give us all fights.
Yeah, nah.
Fights for all on free TV.
Yeah, nah. Boxers gotta get paid. I need boxers.
See the fights on free TV. More fights on ABC.
I'm done.
More fights on NBC. Even Fox.
if I felt like when PBC started, they was really trying to like get on that, and then they just stopped. Like, remember when they was showing? I think like Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia was on like CBS.
Yes, it was, and they just stopped doing it. They're like, "You guys had fun. You enjoyed that. Oh, we got 15 million viewers. Whatever. We don't want it anymore. Too much."
Whatever,
dude. They the numbers they do so well. They do so fucking well. The MMA fights, the UFC fight that happened with Max Holloway and Kelvin Cater was rivaling NFL games. Granted, Max Holloway was putting yammers on somebody that day.
Yeah, I mean, it made it easy to go back to the game. I was like, well, this is what's going on here. I get the gist of it. Round 3, I get the gist of it. I can go watch Aaron Rodgers.
It is what it is, man. But also talking about Bellator, Anthony Rumble Johnson will be fighting Yoel Romero in the first round of the Bellator light heavyweight tournament. Bro, as a fight fan, I am so excited. So excited.
When does that go off?
Gotta go on the Fight Podcast's IG page. Let me see. We've got all the dates and everything for everybody. That fight will be taking place Bellator 257 April 16th at the Mohegan Sun. So steroids are welcome.
Bellator is one of the organizations that don't really give a fuck. Like, you know, like juice a little bit, better products. When we get on, then we'll start testing y'all. They like as soon as we get a little bit closer to the UFC, we're gonna start testing y'all. So y'all get the most out of this shit now.
I mean, look, they do test. And here's the thing, I will say this. By the way, the trolling so I don't know if you know this. So you know Michael Chandler has come to the UFC, looks amazing. I'm a huge fan of Michael Chandler for years. But not his last fight. So at the end of 2019, he lost his title to the 145-pound champion in Bellator, Patricky Pitbull, who moved up in weight and knocked him out in the first round. So Pitbull, after Chandler wins the fight, he's go out there, he's calling people out and shit. Patricky Pitbull goes out there and tweets, Michael Chandler, I'm proud of my son, Michael Chandler.
And but he's still fighting on Bellator?
And whooping ass, yes. And he's also in a tournament right now. He's going to be fighting as well. Huh?
You think he'll make the jump to UFC ever?
I mean, he doesn't need to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Some of these guys, Bellator is an amazing
Bellator pays well too.
Own. Yeah, right? Especially at the top. You know, I think they're doing a great job. I think Scott Coker is probably the best MMA promoter in terms of fighter type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like a fighter's promoter.
Adam Silver.
I think exactly. He's one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like people fuck the athletes fuck with him. So we got that for Buddy, but yeah, man. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. It should be some good stuff, though. Bellator really has, and realistically, their 205-pound weight class, the weight class that they're doing the tournament, is a better weight class than the UFC's 205-pound weight class. I'll admit that.
I think a tournament on Showtime is definitely the way to go for them, because
it's the way to go.
If you were a bit more established, then being on DAZN can make a little bit more sense because you can draw people to the platform. But like Bellator wasn't big enough to go into DAZN. Like I think they were saying you get trapped in the app. Like DAZN was a new concept. A lot of people didn't understand like this whole idea of a streaming service to be able to watch their fighting. So for a brand that should be in their growth phase, trapping themselves in an app like that, like while it probably DAZN was throwing around money, they probably make sense financially. As far as for the growth of their brand, they probably ended up hurting themselves.
I mean, Bellator's been around for a while, so I don't think it's like really growing the brand. It's the second biggest MMA organization out there aside from the UFC.
But think about the growth that MMA has experienced over the last 5 to 7 years, or I guess over the last 3 years, even like since DAZN has come out.
Fastest growing sport in the world.
So they would get more of that growth if they were on TV. Like they didn't get a lot of that growth in the gap. They missed a lot of it. So like the UFC, I think probably widened the gap more.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I know. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's nuts, man. But look, I will say this: them being on Showtime and them having this tournament and getting the big names that they have, I think is going to really, really benefit them. It is. I'm excited to see where they're going to continue doing. They're great, man. Bellator, they have some young talent coming up. The bantamweight division, 135-pound weight class in MMA, there is amazing. You have the champion Juan Archuleta is about to fight Sergio Pettis, who's Anthony Pettis' younger brother. Also, Rafion Stotts, friend of the show. He's also in that mix as well. What was that?
Shout out to Rafion.
Shout out to Rafion. But he was saying also, like, he and Sergio Pettis, they've talked about it because remember they're teammates. Also, the day Rafion Stotts started training MMA, his training partner was Sergio Pettis. They've been training together from the fucking jump, and they said that they would absolutely fight each other for the belt. They would. And and here's the thing: they said they're not leaving gyms either. I'll just come and train in the morning. You come train at night. We ain't going nowhere.
I mean, I think they just make life difficult for themselves.
I don't think so. I think that's how you get it done. If y'all really gonna fight for the chip, I ain't moving. You ain't moving. I ain't mad at you. What's the game plan? I know what your game plan is gonna be. You know what my game plan is gonna be. Let's fight.
I feel like that type of tension in the air every single day may not be conducive.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to be around each other. They just put a training schedule together.
Nope, nigga, you know, it don't work like that. You know, these boxers be fucking running late and shit. And
dudes that I've trained with.
I just find it odd training in the same gym with somebody and then going to fight night fighting them.
It's not that difficult. People make it seem like it's a big deal. It's not. You fight
like
them dudes anyways.
Yeah, I feel like it's odd, but if it happens, it happens.
That's what I'm saying. That's my thing about that has always been that, especially if it's for the belt, I fight you anyways. We fight every day anyways. And if it's going to be for the belt, again, remember, that championship changes lives. I'm not going to sit here and play around. If we're in the same weight class, this was the plan for both of us.
Yeah. True.
Why veer from the plan? Now, why am I going to put myself at a disadvantage and go somewhere else? What's been working for me, what's gotten me to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to do that shit. Nigga, I ain't going nowhere. Neither you. Let's get this shit cracking.
Fair.
That's how I would play it.
You actually been in a fight environment, so I'll take that.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. A lot of cats don't want to play like that. A lot of people are like, no, you're my teammate. I wouldn't do it. Fam, now we talking business, right? We talking business. We have these top organizations. I'm in the UFC. We both get there. We teammates. Dog, if I'm a champion, we get pay-per-view points. All this other shit. Psst. I'm coming up. Hey, fam, I got a family to feed.
No loyalty, G. I see both sides of it. I definitely see both sides of it.
It ain't even about no loyalty, man. Like I got no loyalty. You my nigga.
I feel like I know guys who I can see like would just never take that fight, and I also know guys who be like, nigga, me or you. So I see both sides of it.
Again, the only way it'd have to be like, okay, I don't know, man. Pay-per-view points is a motherfucker. It'd have to be a conversation. Oh man, I'm be like, hey, especially if I know I've been giving Buddy the business in the gym. Oh man.
No, if there was a clear dominance in the gym, that's different.
I'm like, you gonna have to give this up, buddy. Sorry. The hell, like no. Yeah. So here's the thing. So what am I supposed to do, right? Especially if we're in the same. I'm just thinking about it. So we in the same gym, we boys, right? Whatever. We go out there, and all of a sudden it's just like, I can't lose enough weight or gain enough weight to get into one of the other weight classes, right? And so if I can't do that, this is my weight class. Hey man, we just have to get busy.
I think it's the oddest thing for the head trainer when they have to split, because I really feel like the fighter that don't get the head trainers. You know what the head
trainers do? They always they're the ones that bow out.
No, but I'm like Danny Jacobs and Sergey Devchenko. Like they were both trained by Andre Rozier. They was in the same gym and they had to split. And I feel like Danny Jacobs getting Andre Rozier as opposed to one of the assistant trainers, that's an automatic advantage for the fight.
I think as a trainer, the head coach. So, for instance, the head trainer for at the gym down there with Gilbert Burns and Kamara Usman, he's stepping out. I ain't got. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. This is up to y'all. You know what I'm saying? When Rashad Evans, who used to train at Greg Jackson's, left Jackson's to start his own camp in Florida, which is now the same team that Kamara Usman and Gilbert Burns are on. Wow. Funny how this all comes together. He left to start that gym because John Jones was his teammate. He was injured. John Jones ended up getting the title shot, and his team was picking John Jones over Rashad. So Rashad went and started his own team to fight against John Jones,
and lost.
A good fight. You know, he got dominated still. But it's interesting. Look at that gym. Created Kamara Usman and Gilbert Burns. That same gym that Rashad Evans started. Just to, again, kind of come for a circle. But the head coach on that one when they fought, which was Greg Jackson, said, I've trained both of them. I love both guys. I'm not training anybody. Now, Coach Winklejohn trained John Jones because he's a scumbag from what it sounds like. And then on the other hand, obviously you had Henry Hoof and all those boys and Jorge Santiago and all those guys end up training Rashad Evans. So interesting how it ends up working out.
Interesting. Either way, I'll be tuned in on Saturday. I think it'll at least be a good fight while it lasts. Are you picking Burns by knockout?
Burns by finish.
Yeah, because I mean,
he could submit the shit out of his ass too. I think
it's definitely gonna be hard to beat Kamara Usman by decision. I feel like he's his last few fights he's just done such a good job at just controlling people.
And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong because I'm a huge Kamara Usman fan. Like I said, I believe he will do extremely well if he get past it. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of those things.
We will talk on Saturday because I'll be watching.
All right. Well, with that being said, my brother, I appreciate you, man, as always. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we get you out of here, my man was out here vacationing, man, in the midst of COVID, brother. Hey, man, how was your trip, bro?
My trip was great. My trip was great. I had such an amazing time in Costa Rica. I was on such a beautiful beach, like just chilling. Great time.
Awesome, dude. No, dude, I was thinking about you, man. I know when the fights and shit were happening this past week, I couldn't text you because you was out there doing your thing, kicking it, man. But I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I missed. Who fought this weekend?
You missed the fights with it was Overeem and them fighting this weekend, but
I feel like I seen the Overeem fight. Maybe it was on YouTube.
Some shit.
Overeem got TKO the second.
Bro.
Yeah, I seen it.
Jesus, did he? Man, and Frankie Edgar got body snatched. Oh my God.
I didn't see the Frankie Edgar one.
Oh, bro, it was terrible. I feel bad for that dude, man. But
I figured something bad happened because I seen that Frankie Edgar had to make a statement on Twitter. Like every time you got to make a statement, I mean you got your ass. I mean you got crushed.
You got fucking torched, son. He did, bro.
They ain't taking statements from the winner.
Dude, his ass. That man fell like big tree fall hard. Like he went, oh man, bro, it just straight timber action, man. That was terrible. And that's the thing, man. Frankie Edgar's one of those guys that everybody has a soft spot in their heart for Frankie Edgar. So to watch him go down, because he's a legend. He's a legend in the game, man. He's been around forever. Come on, he's from New Jersey, tough man, New Jersey strong type of dude. From one of them, some rivers, New Jersey. I don't know.
Can you imagine what's going to be like when a guy like Canelo is fighting past his prime?
Oh, see, and that's the thing, man. And it's like when I saw it happen, it was just one of those like, this is the end game. If you stick around long enough, this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We see a guy that's never been. He was a champion at 155 pounds. He got starched at 135 this weekend. Think about that.
That's what I love about these sports. That's how it fucking should happen. Like your career shouldn't end like on the fucking bench, not getting any playing time, just collecting a check. Your career should end on a highlight reel.
Damn, son, that's strong. God damn. No, absolutely not, dude. Like, look, granted, I think I would love everybody to get off. You know, I put it like this: the way Cowboy Cerrone and Diego Sanchez are about to go out, right? They two old grizzled fucking vets. That's how guys should go out. Once you can't fight at the top anymore, we notice you can't. Give them a few old guy fights. Give them some vet versus vet fights that we like. Something that's fun. You know what I'm saying? We just had Matt Brown fight Carlos Condit. That's a fun fight. Dude, Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, neither of those dudes were world beaters. They were fun to watch, but they weren't like all time. So they were guys who were a little past their prime, but could still bang. I want to see guys like that fight. You can let the older guys do that.
Guess what? Where did Arturo Gatti's career end up? On the motherfucking highlight reel.
Oh, you bogus. Oh, man. Yo, real quick, also, you extra New York ass dude with the Knicks shirt with the damn Yankees hat on.
It's not. It's actually a Gator shirt.
You should have said Knicks. But salute to the Knicks. I number one defense in the league.
Yeah,
they got our coach Tom Thibodeau, who I love.
We got your guy.
You got my boy. You got D Rose. So salute to the Garden, man. I'm happy for you guys.
The New York Bulls, Chicago Knicks.
Pretty much. Yeah. The New York Bulls. Yes. Chicago Knicks. Yes. Exactly.
What y'all gonna do with Levine?
Probably trade him to the Phoenix or somebody.
Gee, Levine and Phoenix. That's a problem. Any team that Chris Paul is on, like, they get dramatically stronger immediately, and he's been doing Chris Paul is very underrated.
It's like a cheat code
at his age, with his limited athletic ability, to be able to just go to a team and just turn them into a fucking playoff team with whoever is on the fucking floor. That's raw. Even if you don't ever win it all, that's raw to be able to say I did this with these teams, having multiple rehab projects.
Dude, the greatest point guard of our generation. He of this era, he's the best point guard of this era, hands down. Pure point guard, because I don't consider Steph Curry a true point guard.
Maybe have an assist.
This nigga be having an assist. Yeah, nigga, so does James Harden.
James Harden be having an assist. James Harden.
Hey, Loki. Hey, tell me out. Why is James Harden the point guard of the Nets? You a New York guy? What's going on with that team? Why do they suck?
You know what? I don't know. And when I say I don't know, I mean I haven't fully evolved into basketball mode yet. I'm just now getting out of football mode, but now the time where I really get into basketball. But I usually don't really. I seen they on a 3-game skid or something like that. I follow it lightly, but now the time where I really get into it. My season starts at the All-Star break.
It's a good point. You know, it's crazy. This is usually when the All-Star break would be, but it's only the beginning of the season.
But they've been talking about the All-Star break a lot. I feel like it's coming up in March.
Yeah, they're gonna make it in March for some reason, and they're gonna make it. I think they're gonna try to do it in Atlanta, where everybody be out there kicking it.
Nigga, we have blown out a fucking hour.
I don't even care.
This edibles here kicking my ass. It's just fucking killing me.
Hey, well, look, man. I did want to ask you about this. You're about Zach LaVine. LaVine, unfortunately, he will end up getting traded by the end of the season. I just don't want him to go to the Utah Jazz because they're trouble right now, and I don't want him to go to Denver for my Lakers. But I still think Lakers are going to take it regardless, whoever gets who.
Yeah, that's a league changing trade.
Oh, dude, whoever gets Zach LaVine, that's definitely a league changing trade.
And it's crazy how sports found a way to put on a good product during this pandemic. They just out here doing it and flying. I think honestly, the more people that catch it, one more person they don't have to worry about catching it.
No shit. No shit, man. It's been crazy.
They just push it through. Niggas catch it. See y'all niggas in 2 weeks, and they be back.
Yo, what happened with Kevin Durant a couple days ago? Kevin Durant, they just made his ass go kick it. Like he came in, they didn't let him start. Then he comes in the game. Then they take him back out and say, "Nah, bro, you got COVID." What happened?
Bro, it's the wild wild. They do whatever they want. They are literally like, and we're in no position to question any of this shit. I'm just happy to have athletes playing sports on my television right now, because we was all there. We was there in April when nothing was happening. Nothing.
UFC was.
I feel like the UFC even started back May.
May, you're right. It was. April was nothing.
April was when nothing in the world was going on.
You know what we had? We had the Michael Jordan to say the Last Dance documentary.
Yeah, that's it. And that was like
Tiger King.
March was like Tiger King, but April was like the pandemic has settled in. The world was like frozen. We'll never be able to forget April 2020, because with the exception of maybe the South, like the world was really frozen in time.
Atlanta never shut down. I had my cousins live out there, fam. I hit them up. They like, nah, bro. Like, what you mean? Mask? I don't even got one. Nigga literally told me he don't even got a mask.
I don't want to talk about it. It frustrates me.
Dog.
It frustrates me.
I today's the first day I left my house in 2 weeks, and these motherfuckers out there kicking it like it's nothing.
I mean, I'm not as dramatic as you, but
they ain't playing no games, nigga.
I'm amazing compared to Atlanta.
Nope. Oh, yeah,
I just flew to.
Like
I just flew to.
Living dangerous too.
I just flew to another country, but I wore a mask.
Ain't nobody even there. I literally looked at the picture on my wall.
I wore a mask.
No, it's all good. Well, look, brother, we rambling. Much love as always. Where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at BCAM13 with 2 M's and on Twitter at BCAMThinks with 1 M. Appreciate your Serge, and I will be back soon.
Brother. Oh, man, we definitely got to do it, man. We'll do it again very soon. I appreciate you as always. To everybody, I appreciate you guys, man. This has been episode 266 of the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. That is my brother from another, Camm, the Guru. I'm your host, Serge Vicente. We'll see you guys next time right here on the Fight Podcast. And check it out. Listen to us everywhere podcasting is available. Make sure you subscribe. All that good stuff. Deuces.